Beto, it's great to see you back in Dallas County. Welcome back.
It's so good to be here and so amazing that this many people came out on a Monday in Garland. Feels great.
I swam up to the building. Why is now a time for progressives unlike any other? What makes this time different?
Everything that everyone's been talking about that matters to them is under attack right now. So it can't just mean something when your name's on the ballot. It can't just mean something in an election year. If it means something right now. And so each and every single one of us must stand up and be counted. And what is so encouraging to me about what I see in Texas is whether we're in Garland or Amarillo or Mansfield or Denton or Wichita Falls, folks are turning up. And as you saw tonight, we talked to many people who are Republicans, who are Democrats, independents who voted, who didn't vote last time. But now they understand what's on the line and that the very question of America is being called. And we've got to answer. It's now. It's really now.
Executive Director Kathleen Thompson with Beto O'Rourke yesterday in the Dallas area. Lots more from that event on the way on this podcast feed. It's Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch. Rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. Donald Trump's embarrassing tirade against celebrities who would dare defy him appears to be on its way to Texas. Jamil David at the Houston Chronicle says that in his increasingly fevered paranoia, Trump is now calling for an investigation into appearances by Beyonce, Bruce Springsteen, and other high-profile folks at Kamala Harris's campaign rallies last year, including the Harris Walls rally in Houston last October, which was just 7 months ago, which is insane. Trump is theorizing that the Harris campaign paid people like Springsteen and Bono and Taylor Swift and Oprah Winfrey millions of dollars to appear on the Democratic candidate's behalf, which senior spokesperson and consultant Adrian Elrod denies. Multiple millions of dollars illegally being funneled to high-profile celebrities has become the latest fantasy of MAGA land in order to convince themselves that these popular performers might just possibly actually disagree with their hateful worldview. Watch for Trump to press this. Should get interesting. Sticking with D.C., and speaking of unpopularity, look at John Cornyn's numbers. Holy cow. CBS News is reporting on escalating drama in the Republican primary race for the U.S. Senate. Well over a year out, new polling shows Senator Cornyn trailing Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton among likely Republican voters in Texas by 16 points. The PAC that conducted this poll threw Houston area Congressman Wesley Hunt in just for fun. With Hunt as a choice, Paxton's lead shrinks significantly, showing that a great many MAGA types who prefer Paxton at this point over Cornyn are more easily swayed towards alternatives than those who still back the incumbent. Cornyn and Paxton have been attacking each other on Twitter lately. Obviously, this drama has a long time to play out and presents an opportunity for a great Democratic candidate to be the grown-up in the room. Talk about both the aforementioned Beto O'Rourke and Colin Allred has been circulating, as we've discussed, and again, there's a long way to go. To the Capitol, now less than 2 weeks to the end of the 89th legislative session, a few key items remain in play, including public school finance. Josephine Lee at the Texas Observer writes that Texas school districts are deeply concerned that Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick and the Texas Senate have rendered HB 2 a vastly insufficient package after weeks of secret negotiations that were conducted while the rest of Texas was wondering what in the hell the delay was about, part of which was the undercutting of a House-proposed significant increase in the basic allotment, reduced to an insultingly meager $55 per kid. Lee talked to administrators at school districts across Texas, all of whom are dismayed that just as it appeared that the legislature would come through for public schools in exchange for Republicans' long-coveted private school voucher program, it appears as though a bait-and-switch is imminent as the session begins to draw to a close. Frustrating read from the Texas Observer in the show notes. To reproductive rights in Senate Bill 2880, the abortion bill that's passed the upper chamber and has gotten a lot less attention this session than the Life of the Mother Act did, as you might recall, which is curious, as that former bill openly carries the very threats against women seeking abortion care outside of Texas that opponents of the latter bill were fearful of happening on a technicality. Bonnie Fuller at Courier DFW writes that should SB 2880 pass the House and be signed by Governor Abbott into law, women who leave Texas to acquire abortion care could be criminally prosecuted once they return home. Should this bill or its House companion, HB 5510, end up becoming law, Texas would have the distinction of becoming the first state in the country to criminalize and subject to prison time women who end their pregnancies. There was significant outrage against the Life of the Mother Act early in the session over what it might do. The silence over what these currently pending bills are specifically written to do is deafening. Proud to report that no Democratic senators voted for the Senate version. The House version remains pending in committee. While Texas women remain under increasingly intense attack and our public schools are dying on the vine, some Republican lawmakers are continuing their strategy to distract Texas families with culture war bullshit, including one bill that Jaden Edison at the Texas Tribune covers. Senate Bill 2617 would require Texas students to be taught the outdated Christian BC-AD system in historical reference. BC or before Christ and AD or Anno Domini, Latin for in the year of our Lord, are commonly used to keep track of years before and after Jesus Christ's birth. A precise date that is unknown. Historians more recently used before Common Era and Common Era in an attempt to ensure that time tracking is inclusive of different faiths and cultures other than Christianity. And just like all the other attempts to cram religion into the classroom, this bill will accomplish little but to keep young Texas graduates mired in outdated thinking and thus at a job market disadvantage to other graduates whose training was kept free of Christian nationalist dogma. Unfortunately, Democratic State Senators Royce West, Boris Miles, and Juan Chuy Hinojosa all voted in favor of SB 2617. A couple things to watch for here on the Progress Texas podcasts feed. As we heard at the top today, Executive Director Kathleen Thompson attended a town hall event in Garland with Beto O'Rourke last night. We've got extensive audio coming from that to share. Everybody's interested in Beto's next move, of course. And speaking of which, a bit later this Tuesday morning, watch for a very special announcement coming from Austin State Representative Vicki Goodwin. I know I've been impatient to see who the Democratic players will be in the upcoming election cycle, but I'm feeling good about what should be a very interesting election season in Texas as we head for 2026. I hope you're ready and fired up as well. DFW and North Texas friends, mark your calendars for Monday, June 9th. That's when we'll be hosting our 15th anniversary celebration in Dallas. Links to become a supporter and to secure your tickets are up now at progresstexas.org. A shout out to our generous event sponsors, Howard Cleon, Charles Zeller, Pamela Pearson, Alex Andrade, the law offices of Domingo A. Garcia PC, Carol Taylor, Chuck Cruz, Amy Forehand, Eric Johnson and Dr. Mark Parker, John Mazzaro, the Honorable Bill Peterson III, Judy Leonis, and many more. Thanks for the support. We look forward to seeing you guys again for 15 years of progress in Dallas on Monday, June the 9th. Tickets now at progresstexas.org. Our mission at Progress Texas is to counter the conservative disinformation machine, but they far outmatch us in funding. Oil and tech billionaires and religious right-wing activist groups spend a lot of money keeping their audiences in the dark. If you've come to appreciate the light that we shine on important political news in Texas on a daily, ongoing basis, please know that our regular, everyday listeners form a key component of our funding. If that's you, we could use your support as a monthly contributor, and no amount is too small. Go to progresstexas.org/donate. Thanks to Matthew Wright, Bonnie Walton, and Jesse Bowie, all of whom have joined the team. We appreciate all of y'all very much. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. Links to all these original stories can be found in our show notes. Progress Texas is a nonprofit rapid response media organization promoting progressive messages and actions. While campaigns come and go, we're the permanent home for progressive media and action in the Lone Star State. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day. We'll see you again tomorrow morning.